Voice of Indonesia.
Voice of Indonesia from Indonesia to the world. Welcome back to me, Ahmad Faisal. And today we have a special interview related to Independence Day of Ukraine and the bilateral relations between Indonesia and Ukraine. Well, you know that Indonesia and Ukraine have built very strong relations in many fields and even until now. So to know more about this, here with us at the studio of Voice of Indonesia, there is Ambassador of Ukraine to Indonesia, His Excellency Vasil Hamianin. How are you today, Your Excellency?
Selamat siang. Saya sangat terhormat berkunjung Voice of Indonesia. I'm really honored. The normal day of the ambassador in Jakarta today.
Nice to see you today.
Nice to see you. Thank you very much for inviting.
Okay, well, first of all, I would like to congratulate on your Independence Day, which is commemorated every 24th August. So how do people of Ukraine show their nationalism every year in welcoming their Independence Day?
Ya, pertama-tama saya mau mengucapkan selamat Hari Kemerdekaan Indonesia. Hiduplah Indonesia Raya. Because it's easy to remember the Independence Day of Indonesia because like 1 week before the Independence Day of Ukraine.
Yes.
So well, in this case, I would not use the word nationalism because it might be misleading to some people. I would use the word of patriotism.
Patriotism.
Patriotism in Ukraine, nationalism and patriotism mean the same. It's loving your country and at the same time respecting the other nations. So Ukraine is a very tolerant nation, and all people of all countries, of all races, of all religions feel very comfortable in Ukraine. That's why every time we celebrate Hari Kemerdekaan Ukraina, it's basically the holiday of all the people that live in Ukraine. Someone might be surprised, but we have over 100 ethnic groups living in Ukraine. We have Christians, Orthodox, Catholics, Protestants, whatever, Greek Catholics also. The second biggest community is Muslim community. Third biggest is Jewish community, and then we have others. And every time we celebrate the Day of Independence, what we don't show the like our mighty or force or something. We show the solidarity with the people of the world. We show the tolerance and we show the respect to each other and to all the people in the world, in our region or elsewhere. So that's how we celebrate, basically. So we have been posing ourselves in this world as a peaceful nation, as a tolerant nation, as a nation who can defend itself. So this year, as it was last year, we will mark the Independence Day of Ukraine as day of resilience, as day of like proving ourselves to be strong, to be democratic, to be human, because we are fighting for justice, we are fighting for humanity, keadilan, kemanusiaan. This is what we're fighting for. Of course, perdamaian. So these are main things, main values we are fighting for, and these words will be the main words in during the celebration of our Hari Kemerdekaan this year.
Sir, if we see about the current situation in Ukraine, so how do you see the development of bilateral relations between Indonesia and Ukraine?
The practical cooperation between Ukraine and Indonesia was damaged because we were making big trade between our countries. We were having joint projects. We were planning to do much more. We were having the contracts to be signed, and all this was just postponed, or just stopped, or like decreased in numbers because of the it's like collateral damage from the Russian aggression. You know, when one big country attacks the neighboring country, As a result, now we have to work very hard to recover our previously very productive and efficient cooperation with Indonesia.
So our President Jokowi has also conveyed that Indonesia also encourage two countries to get peace because this war must be ended. That's why President Jokowi also mentioned about this. So how do you see about President Jokowi's statement about this during like showing conveying about peace for the two countries?
President Joko Widodo not just conveyed his messages to Ukraine and to the world. He also visited Ukraine in very hard time. And at that time, in 29th of June 2022, he was the first Asian, African, and Latin American leader, like basically the first leader out of Europe and North America who visited Ukraine during war. That was a great step towards putting the end to Russian aggression. And then also he mentioned not once, including during the G20 summit in Bali, that this war must be stopped.
Sir, are there such joint projects or exchanging programs for those countries between Indonesia and Ukraine?
At present, again, I repeat, we stopped or just put on pause all the practical projects with Indonesia because some of them were related to the very sensitive issues like defense area or like military cooperation with Indonesia. And then trades big trade by food, by wheat, gandum, food oil, palm oil, etc., etc. So now, as Russia blocked the grain initiative of Ukraine, as Russia blocked the Ukrainian seaports, so we cannot like directly and smoothly export our grains to Indonesia. So it goes long way through other countries, through other traders, before it arrives in Indonesia. So we have a lot of projects to make. We still, I repeat, we have a lot of contracts to be signed.
That's a potential for two countries.
And we have prepared a lot like immediately to be signed. It will include, for example, between the ministers of defense, between the ministers of foreign affairs, between the ministers of economy, between the ministers of education, between Kadin, Ukraine. For example, very simple, we are working now on the preferential trade agreement, which will make much easier the trade relations between our countries. We signed already the agreement on visa-free regime for Indonesians and Ukrainian people. So now Ukrainians can travel to Indonesia as tourists, but Indonesians cannot. Now, we already signed it. So now Indonesia has to implement it. Once implemented, Indonesian citizens can travel to Ukraine free of visa. No visa needed. It's a great step towards the, like strengthening our cooperation and dialogue. Yeah. So we have many of those. We have programs for students from Indonesia to study in Ukraine. We have some ideas and some initiatives on starting Ukrainian studies in Indonesia in some universities. But this requires the stability and peace.
Okay, Your Excellency, this year, 2023, is as Indonesia's chairmanship in ASEAN. So according to you, how does Ukraine see Indonesia's role in maintaining stability in Southeast Asia?
First of all, Ukraine in no way would like to teach or preach or suggest or propose anything regarding the ASEAN business or like Southeast Asia regional businesses. It's absolutely up to ASEAN countries, it's up to Indonesia as one of the biggest players to make proposals and to make decisions. Our role here is as a partner. So we are trying to, my hopes and the hopes of Ukraine as a state is that ASEAN region will remain a nuclear-free zone. It will remain peaceful and stable region of the world. Because the stability of Southeast Asia will promote the stability worldwide. It's a very big region with huge potential. I think in Thai, if we take it now, the Southeast Asia, ASEAN countries will be counted like number 4 or number 5 in the world. Yeah, like after European Union and everything. So it's huge economic body, and our mission, our task as Ukraine is to develop partnership with ASEAN countries and ASEAN as an organization. And we can make a lot of contributions on that in terms of IT, high-tech, medicines, pharmacy, food security, nuclear security, cyber security, anything. So we have huge field for cooperation. And I'm looking very confidently into these future relations between ASEAN and Ukraine.
Okay, sir, the last question, sir. Regarding with the Independence Day of Ukraine, do you have any expectation or hope regarding expecting for increasing bilateral relations between Indonesia and Ukraine in the future?
I have every hope of increasing and diversifying the relations between Ukraine and Indonesia. I not just have hopes, but I have very concrete proposals. I have very concrete plans, and I have a very concrete ideas to be implemented by that. But before we can implement any of those, we need the peace to be resumed in Ukraine. And I hope that Indonesian government, Indonesian human rights defenders, Indonesian parliament, Indonesian Islam organizations will say the words regarding peace, stability, humanity, and justice in Ukraine. Because after that, after the war is over, after Ukraine restored its sovereignty over its territories, we'll have huge amount of projects and bilateral cooperations. By the way, including those regarding rebuilding of Ukrainian economy and infrastructure. So the future is bright. We have to put the end to this aggression.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your time and attention to have special interview today.
Thank you so much. Terima kasih banyak.
Okay. Well, listener, that was our special review with Ambassador of Ukraine to Indonesia, His Excellency Vasil Hamianin. I'm Amna Faisal. See you next time in another interesting interview. Bye.
Voice of Indonesia.